Hello friends, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time. I am really out of sorts this week. I'm filming this. It is 4:34 Thursday. What day is it? What is the day? What is the month? What is the year? What is life? I don't know. So this is Sat Chat. In case you're here for a tutorial of all things, you ain't gonna get one. Sorry about your luck. That's not what's happening here today. This is just the weekly chit chat that you so know and love. I don't know if you know it or love it, but here we are. So it's been a whirlwind of a week, and I have probably about another 4 weeks of whirlwind. It's a very, very busy season of life because I decided that, as you may know, I complained about it enough. I'm sure you know, I'm sure you're aware. I suffered quite a creative burnout back in January and February, and during that time I thought it would be a great idea to say yes to a bunch of different projects that sounded fun and interesting from companies that I love. So you know, I'm saying yes to life, making connections, doing all of that stuff, and then the bill came due. And then it's like everything needs to be worked on at once. So yeah, kind of freaking out a little bit, but I think I have everything under control. I just, you know, it's been such a struggle just to create anything. And you're probably like, Lindsay, you're posting videos every other day, you're creating all kinds of things, but it just didn't feel like, I didn't feel very creative. I didn't feel like the stuff I was making was very good. And I felt like I am somebody who's motivated by negative emotions. You know, pretty much anything I have done of note in my life has been done out of spite or out of like some sort of like, I'll show them, you know, sort of attitude. So yeah, I tend to be very motivated by negative emotions or by negative consequences. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna say yes to these jobs because I like these companies, they're good companies, and the projects sound interesting, and that will really force me to be creative. And that way, when I do have free time, I'll feel very grateful for it, and I'll make good use of it, and I'll spend my time wisely. I just was so sick of just languishing in the fallow fields of the winter of my creativity. I was just needed a spark and needed a push, basically, and I couldn't just push myself. I needed like external accountability, I guess. But things are going well. I've been working on a project. I'm really behind today. I'm really behind today. I intended to have a bunch of filming done today, so tomorrow I could spend all day editing. I have an Easter project that I'm working on, and I was using so I now have my Shortcuts a Lot software upstairs on my desktop computer, and I moved my ancient die cutting machine. It's about 16 years old, maybe longer, it might be older than that, actually. I think it's about 16 years old. I think the girls were about 2 when I got it. So anyway, that's upstairs, and I just moved it upstairs today or last night with papers and everything. And so I have sprawled into yet another room in the house. Well, the good thing is that if I ever get audited, like they'll say, like, with the home office deduction, they're like, you know, you could be deducting more than what you're deducting. It's like half the house at this point. Oh, it's not, but it's definitely more than a fifth. So anyway, and I haven't die cutted. I haven't done like die cutting projects. I used to design die cutting templates for a living back when the girls started pre-K. See, I'm negative emotion motivated. So I told myself that when the girls started school, I had been like trying to get my work in magazines. I occasionally would get stuff published, do little freelance things here and there. I told myself that the girls started the 4-year-old program, which was like pre-K, a half-day program. I'm like, I give myself until they graduate pre-K to be able to make as much money in my own business as I would make as a substitute teacher. And if I can't do it, then I am going to sign up to be a substitute teacher. And I did not want to be a substitute teacher. Kids are fine. But actually, after having my own children, I no longer feel the urge to be around other children. That was enough. I feel like it used up all of my patience for children during that time. I rarely teach children now. Like maybe once or twice a year I'll do a workshop for kids, and I'm fine. It's not like I'm crabbing at them or anything, but I just know my limits. I know my limits. And I did not want to be a substitute teacher, but I felt like that's the motivation I need. Either get it together, build a business, or sign up to be a substitute teacher, because I wanted to do something where I could still be home with the kids after school. So that's why I gave myself that 1-year ultimatum. And so that's kind of how I roll. That's kind of how I roll. I started my whole Teachable school because Craftsy canceled the class that I was working on because they were getting bought by NBC. And I was like, oh, I'll show them. They're not gonna, and I was so excited because I loved doing my Craftsy class. It was so much fun. It was like, you feel like a movie star because you go there and they like do your makeup and your hair and like steam your clothes, and you've got a director and a producer and a coach, and it's just like, oh, it was so cool. I loved it. So I was really disappointed and angry, and so I'm like, oh, I'll show them. I'll start my own school, and don't tell me what I can and can't teach. So I mean, that's just how I roll. So yeah, so I gave myself a little, not even ultimatum. I'm like, you're gonna commit to these projects and get them done, so then you'll really appreciate your free time that you have been squandering the past couple of months. So yeah, all those chickens have come to roost, and I'm working on an Easter project, which has kind of turned into, well, I'm going to do this, and but if I'm going to do this, then I should do that because I have these leftover pieces, and if I'm going to do that with those leftover pieces, then I should also do this, and then while I'm at it, and then while I'm at it, it'll be a way better project if I do this. And so I was supposed to have all my stuff cut out last night, and I didn't, and so this morning I started cutting stuff, and then I have an old, well, I'll tell you what brand I have, and I don't recommend this brand in any shape or form. I have an old Cricut, and I will say that the old, back when they were selling from independent stores, those are workhorses. Both of my original Cricuts, my personal 6-inch one and the 12-inch Expression, are still going. They are they're workhorses, and I've used them a lot, and they haven't failed me. I don't use the cartridges. I use Surecut Slot 2 software and my computer to cut with it, and for the most part it does pretty well, but it's not the most accurate machine in the world. So if you have something with like really fine details, it's not the best machine for that. So so I was working with these SVG templates, and I noticed that like just some of the little designs were way too fine for my machine, so I ended up having to tweak things a little bit, and customize some stuff, and then just the whole deciding, well, there's so many options, what am I going to pick? So yeah, it took me a lot longer to get things printed and cut than I intended, but yeah, then I was like, but when I was planning my day, I had really optimistic plans on how much I was going to get done today, and so yeah, I had a Zoom meeting with my rep from Teachable, who's helping me do some stuff in my school. And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to be doing Zoom meeting, I should also do, because I will not go on a Zoom meeting unless it's just with my best friends or something, my crafty girlfriends. I won't put makeup on for. But if it's like in any sort of professional vein, I put makeup on, and it's like you're going into an office, you're representing yourself as a professional. So I'm like, well, while I have camera makeup on, then I'll do sat chat, and also do my prompt for April for a critique club, which I just got recorded. Oh, and this is up in Critique Club now. This is so fun. I'm gonna turn the light, push it away, light. You're too bright today. This was so much fun. Maybe I can catch the metallic on there. I used some Schminke Aqua Bronze. But anyways, this is up in Critique Club. There is a time lapse on YouTube. This was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you are looking just to do something different. But yeah, so that's our second March project. But yeah, anyway, so it's kind of like I've been trying to be super efficient because I have so much to do. And yeah, if one thing kind of gets delayed, then it's like, oh yeah. And I had a bunch of photography I needed to do today, and I haven't even started that yet. But I mean, I don't have to get all this editing. There's one thing I need to get edited tomorrow, but I don't have it filmed yet, so it's gonna be a long night, I think. But that's just how it is. It's kind of, sometimes it's kind of like all or nothing. Although I will say there is something kind of invigorating about like being really busy, because you prove to yourself that you can take on a big thing and get it done, and that's empowering. That's empowering. Just also knowing that this is the next step you have to do, and just being organized and kind of firing on all cylinders. That's That's a good feeling. That's, I mean, you can't do it forever. You'll get burnt out. You can't be working like it's the day before vacation every day, or, I mean, maybe some people can. Maybe get used to it. Maybe when you become a high performer, you really get used to it, and then it's like, you know, your average day is like somebody else's like day before vacation day. I don't know. I'd love to be a high performer. But then again, I have to say, sometimes I think my best ideas come from when I'm just like, I'm just puttering around and I'm not doing anything of any real consequence. I'm like, you know, I don't know, walking in the woods, or I'm just, I don't know, doing something silly that I tend to waste time doing, you know, and then some idea comes to you. Like, some idea came to me in the shower this morning. I hope I wrote it down because I don't remember what it is right now. But I remember I had an idea and it was brilliant. Shoot, what was that idea? That was a good idea. I'm gonna have to circle back to that. Hopefully I remember. Oh, it's been such a weird week. It's only Thursday that I'm filming this. I feel like it's Friday, but it's like, no, I got a whole other day. And I mean, I can work on the weekends too. I usually don't. I usually take the weekends off, other than just checking in with I'm a teachable school to make sure no students have questions or comments or whatnot. I like to keep up on that. So for the most part, I've got it under control. That's my mantra. Everything's under control. I got everything under control. Been living on caffeine and power bars and protein bars. That's not a bad diet, you know, for a short term. Lots of salads too. I made some, you guys might like this. I took a can of chickpeas and I rinsed them, and then I threw them in the little Ninja food processor with some pickles and some olive oil and some, not too much though, and some salt and oregano and basil and garlic and crushed red pepper. I don't know, probably threw some other stuff in there too. And so I kind of pulsed it up so it's kind of like the texture of like chicken salad. So it's like chickpea salad. And so I'd have a big spring mix salad, lots of vegetables, put a huge scoop of that on there, throw some craisins and some almonds on there. Super hearty. I got these little, they're 20 calorie, low carb. Oh my gosh, I probably should have done trigger warning because I'm talking about food. I'm talking about food, guys. If that bothers you, skip ahead a minute or whatever. And I take the low carb wrap, which are 20 calories, really high in fiber and protein, and I put a big scoop of my salad in there. And like, I have 3 of those, and it's really hearty, but it doesn't like make you sleepy. I notice like if I was to have like bread, or probably, I don't really like regular tortillas, but if I was to have like a wrap or something like that, I'd be kind of tired and sluggish, and then I wouldn't have the energy to get through the rest of the day. But for whatever reason, not having those extra carbohydrates in the middle of the day really give me a lot more energy. So that's one thing I've realized. I've always been like, I eat my biggest meal at lunch. A lot of times I don't eat breakfast. Unless I'm really hungry in the morning, I don't eat breakfast. But I'll have my first meal kind of early, and it's usually kind of something lunchy, around 10 o'clock, 10 or 11. And then I'll eat again like at dinner time. Or I might have something late afternoon and then have some popcorn. We'll watch TV at night or something like that. But that seems to work for me. That seems to keep my energy levels up, and I don't feel sluggish and tired. If I am going to eat something high in carbs like oatmeal or something, I'll have that at night because then it will help me sleep. But yeah, I don't have any any notes or anything. I mean, I mentioned Critique Club. I almost forgot to mention that that new class that's up there. I hope you guys try it. It's definitely one of those fun like art blocks. It's funny because I kind of want to like play with this idea a little bit more. So the idea is, I was looking at, sometimes I see some really pretty like urban sketching that people do of like architecture and buildings and stuff, and generally buildings are not exciting to me. I like more organic shapes and organic lines, but for whatever reason I was just kind of like vibing on the ruin of like old European buildings, and I thought, it'd be nice to do something along that vein, but not have it like really detailed or outliney. I didn't want it outliney. What I was feeling was like walking into the shadows, or getting kind of like swallowed up by the shadows of something. Like you're turning the corner of a like a European town at night, lit by the streetlights, and you're just kind of like falling into the shadows, you know. We're probably where all the murderers are, I don't know. But that's kind of like the vibe that I was getting, but lots of color in the shadows, and but just as like the sculptural details, and I was just kind of like this, really feeling that. And so I was looking at reference photos of old European buildings because I'm not in Europe, and sadly I have no plans to go anytime soon. So I was looking at reference photos, and this one reference photo came up, and it was actually it must have been in a church. And because the photo was more about like this altar area with a big painting in it. And I was looking at the columns and things like that, the architecture. That's what I was really after, was the architecture. And I saw a tiny little bit of the painting in the corner was a chandelier. That's what the inspiration for that was. And I was like, something about that just kind of like sparked something in my mind. And I'm like, I think I'm going to go for that. And then the fact that it was just a teeny weeny little part of a reference photo. And the fact that it was a nothing part of a reference photo. It wasn't even a beautiful chandelier. It was a chandelier. I mean, there's nothing to write home about or anything. It was just a chandelier. Some of the candlesticks were even crooked on it, but I was like, there was something about that I was like, this is inconsequential. I can do whatever I want with this. If I mess it up, who cares? This isn't anything that anyone's expecting. It isn't anything anybody needs. If it's garbage, I could throw it away. But I did use Arches watercolor paper. And one thing I thought really made the process magical was I sketched on with a Derwent Graphitint pencil. I used the aubergine, which is like a purple color. And the reason I did that, I was kind of like a little nervous to do that because I'm like, if I lose my lines, then, because I'm not somebody who does architecture, so I was afraid that if I lose my lines, then it'll be a big hot mess. But then I'm like, I also want a very ethereal feeling. I don't want outlines. That was something I specifically wanted to avoid, was outlines. I wanted lost and found edges. I wanted like pockets of shadow, maybe little glimmers of highlight, but I just wanted like more of an ethereal feeling. So I'm like, I'm going to sketch for that, and it was perfect. The feeling of the Derwent Graphitint pencil on Arches cold press paper, which is a little more rough than a lot of other cold presses, that heavy sizing that let my paper stay wet as long as I needed it to. It was just the right combination of materials, and sometimes that happens. You just put the right combination of materials together and it's so inspiring. Oh, I remember what my shower idea was. It was to take all these sat chats, because YouTube is doing this thing called podcasts now, and I thought the sat chats are kind of like a podcast, and I think I'm going to take the old sat chat episodes and organize them in a playlist that's a podcast. So, if somebody's like doing somebody could put that on and listen and do, because you don't need to be watching sat chat. You could be listening while you vacuum or wash your dishes or whatever, run on the treadmill. So that was my great idea. I was going to not turn them into podcasts, but actually just kind of categorize them as podcasts, which means I need to make a little thumbnail, which if you give a moose a muffin, he's going to want some jam to go with it. And that's kind of like how my life has been this week. It's like I'm focused, working on this thing, and it's like, oh, but what if I did that thing? Oh, here's an idea, because like sometimes a little idea will like pop right into your head when it's like, I don't have time for that idea. Where were you 2 months ago? I had no ideas, And then it's like, oh, I gotta write that down, before I forget. I need to keep waterproof paper in the shower or something. They make that, Lila got some when she did a field bio trip. They went out in the middle of the ocean for a week on this little tiny island, and they had to write in a waterproof journal. I'm like, that is neat. I love knowing that exists. I am all about weird stationery. I think weird stationery, along with travel watercolor palettes, weird stationery is a hobby, although I don't have a very big collection. Speaking of travel watercolor palettes, a viewer sent a couple really nifty things. This lady, who wishes to remain anonymous, purchased a painting of mine recently, and so she had my return address because I mailed her a painting, and she said, I hope you don't mind, but I ordered a couple palettes for you, and I don't know if they'll come together or when they'll arrive, but I didn't see anything like this in your palette tour, and I think you'd really get a kick out of them. Paraphrasing. So this first one here, it's a little clip, and it clips onto a sketchbook. Let me grab a sketchbook here so I can show you. So you would, well, it's got a little lid, and the lid has some wells, and then the base has some wells. It's like acrylic. I don't know if that really shows because it's kind of clear. It's like a frosted clear. So flip it onto your sketchbook, I guess, like that, and then you could paint with it. And then I think, oh yeah, you could probably put the lid on like this so that you have a little bit of mixing area. Or I think you could probably clip maybe? I wonder if you could really clip it like that, which is clear because you really can't see it because it's frosted, but you could use that for a little bit of mixing area, or you could even use the inside of your palette, use it with a water brush or something with a little palette. I think that, a little sketchbook, I think that's super cute. I've never seen anything like this. Now I've seen everything. And the other one, it's in this little felt pouch, and it is it's another acrylic palette, but this one is arranged for the Gansai pans, I guess, and it's got this nice large frosted mixing area, which, yeah, you know, I think there's actually, I think I need to get the film off of it, but that's just going to shine in your face, so I'll do that later. But, oh, no, that can't be the way it goes. Oh, you know what, there's magnets on the bottom. I think, maybe, here's how it goes. I think you probably hook it like this, so you could hold it and use the mixing area. I don't know, is that right? You could hold it like that. It will definitely magnet to the bottom to keep it out of the way, but it'd be nice to use it as a mixing area. I guess you could do that if you're careful. But I think, and I haven't tried it yet, but I did grab some Gansai paint. I honestly haven't even had the extra second to try this without trying it on camera. It's been a week, and tomorrow's going to be worse, so it's like, if I'm going to get Sat Chat done today, I got to do it. I got to do it today, or it's not going to get done this week. So it's, yes, it does fit. I was thinking those look a little too small, but it's perfect. It's perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could take 12 Gansai pans and put them in here. This is just what I wanted. This is like what I was going to make out of clay, but I kind of crapped out on that idea. I've crapped out on a lot of ideas, friends, over the last couple of weeks, but I thought this was fabulous. I think she said she bought it on AliExpress. So I guess you could Google 12 acrylic palette to hold 12 Gansai Tambi pans, and if I see it on Amazon, I'll link to it. It's neat. I gotta take the little film off, but I love this little pouch. Isn't that pouch cute? I don't know if there's room to put a sketchbook in. I think it'd be too tight. I think it might rip the pouch if you put a sketchbook in there too, but gosh, that's so handy. That's gonna be really nice to use with my Gansai paints, because then if I'm doing a tutorial or something, I can just pull out the paints that I need rather than having that big, the big tin. I took my set of 24 and I took one of the old core tins and I put some poster putty on the bottom, and then I just stuck them in. And that worked pretty well. It's much more compact, but something like this would be much better because I don't need to use 24 colors at once, even though they say Gansai really isn't intended to be mixed. So that would make sense why the tray wouldn't necessarily click on for mixing. But yeah, that would work out really well. That would work out, because like the Gansai paints, you know, you generally would use them for just painting directly on rice paper, which isn't what I do. I don't really like painting on rice paper, but I've had some requests to do a tutorial. My hair is kind of bothering me today. We're still in progress. We're still in our coloring journey, or going to blonde journey from red, and I'm really kind of bitter. I'm really frustrated with this red because I couldn't get it to stay in my hair when I wanted it, and now that I don't want it, I can't get rid of it. So it's very frustrating. And I don't want to bleach my hair. I just gotta be patient and let it kind of wear out. Maybe go over it with some ash. Maybe I'll just have to go over all my hair with like a dark ash blonde just to tone it down a little bit. I don't know. I have purple shampoo, but because of the tone of red that I have, it just kind of turns my hair kind of pink, and that's not really what I'm going for either. I kind of have the peach color going now, which is fine. Just call me Princess Peach, the Nintendo character. Oh, I wish I was a princess. Delegate. I'd do some delegating, that's for sure. I'd be delegating some of my tasks, but it's all good. It's all good. They're all fun projects. I'm enjoying working on them. It's just kind of, I just wish I could squeeze another 5 hours out of the day, and then I'd be golden. But yeah, it'll all get done. It'll all get done. And I am kind of riding the wave of ambition and energy right now, so I'm hoping I don't think I'll burn out. Usually burnout comes when you're like, you know, uninspired, but I'm actually feeling fairly inspired right now. What's new? I'm trying to think if I have anything right off to talk about. I don't really. I have my next Michael's Derwent class will be in May 12th, so that's not up yet to sign up for. I'm still working on the 30 Days to Better Painting course for my Teachable school. That's looking more like it's going to be May now. But yeah, I've got an Easter craft coming up. The real-time donut painting I posted this week, so if you want to paint along to that, it's only 40 minutes. I'm surprised at how quickly I got that painted. And I'm working on a lot of things. Some things I can't talk about, and some things I don't remember. I am at like 99% brain saturation right now. So in order for anything new to come in, something's gotta go. I gotta write some stuff down. I'm trying to think, I'm looking around to see if anything new has, oh, you know, I can share something new that I'm working on a review for. We got time. We have got, these are really, really cute. This, here, I don't know if you like oil pastels. I do. I like oil pastels a lot. These are really super soft and pigmented. That's an actual swatch that I did with the pastels. These right here are a brand new pastel from Paul Rubens, and my gosh, do they feel like Sennelier. They are so soft and so opaque. Other than that, like, I don't know what it is about green pastels. I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to compare a bunch of like bright greens. There's a certain shade of green oil pastel, and they're so streaky, and I don't know what it is. What is it about that pigment? Why has there been no, like, no big advances in green pigments that we can have a pastel that doesn't streak on green? I mean, you can mix and layer and eventually get to where you're going, but yeah, I was noticing that. I somebody mentioned it, and now I'm always like looking at the greens. I'm like, how streaky will you be? But anyway, that's something I'm working on. These are super sumptuous and just gorgeous and yummy, and yeah, because I'll definitely need like a little bit of a brain break, and I'll need to do some art with these. So I am excited for that. They do look a lot like the Senneliers. They're actually a smidgen bigger than the Senneliers, but this is what the Senneliers look like. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe if I hold that up you can see. Those are my precious. But they're actually, they're my end of a painting pastels because they're so soft. I don't like to do the whole painting with them. They're a little bit too greasy for that. I save them for the end, but I do enjoy them. I like Sennelier products quite a bit. And they've been very affordable lately on... I want to say lately, but the last year or so, I've seen the prices on their pastels really be inexpensive on Amazon. I picked up the pastel, the 120 Paris set, and I really like that. I put it, I have pastel drawers where I have all my pastels in, except for like a couple sets that I like to, you know, travel with, and they're quite lovely. They are very nice. They're very soft, so I don't use them for the entire painting. You could, but I prefer to start with something a little bit firmer and then work my way to the softness. That way I don't have to use fixative as much, and I can layer up as much as I want or as little as I want. So I feel like there's so many products I want to work with right now. Isn't that always the way? It's like the minute your time is compressed, you don't have much free time, then you think of all these fun things you want to do, and then like the times where you've got like a week with nothing going on, you can't think of a darn thing you want to do. It's like the old saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person, because they'll squeeze it in, they'll figure it out, they'll get it done. It's like you want to, it's like to get more done, you need to be busier. You know, you need to already be busy, and then you'll figure out how to get all these different things done. It's so strange. It's so bizarre. But yeah, I did want to get a sat chat done. I didn't want to let a week go by without a sat chat. Sometimes I have some just like random ranty topics that I'll like record and keep in the wings in case I miss a sat chat. But I guess I published all those. I think I published all of them because I knew I was changing my hair color back. So it's like, I better put that out there so I don't have this weird continuity thing like in the middle of summer. Wow, she's got dark hair again. What happened? Not that it matters. I don't know. So yeah, working on the podcast. Not working on the podcast, repurposing old sat chats. I do have a podcast on Anchor. I could take those recordings and probably upload them to a podcast too, but low-hanging fruit right now. We're doing the low-hanging fruit, and I am just about out of time. I got 13 seconds left, so I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy sat chat, because this is for you, baby. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!